Hi. Hello. Are we live? I think we're
Hi.
live. I'm checking on the YouTube. So we're not live yet.
There's a bit of a delay, but we are alive now. Just go.
Okay, cool.
Hello.
Hi. Hello. My name is Matthew. I'm the host of the day. Today we'll be presenting you Coming Clean, a session about clean NFT. Here with me, the guests, Moon, Mumu, and Michelle, the thebadlament. Hi guys.
Hi.
How are you
Great.
all?
Yeah, good.
Doing
So
well.
it's 11 p.m. for you, Michelle. I hope you're, doing well because it's gonna be an interesting session tonight.
Yes, it'll keep me awake, that's for sure.
All right, so maybe before we, jump down into the discussion, let's do a bit of self-introduction. Let's start from Moon.
Introduce yourself first. Okay, I'll introduce myself, but you should introduce yourself as well. Hi, I'm Moon.
Yeah, I'll come to it.
Uh, Hi, I'm Moon. I'm from MalaysiaNFT, from NFXT.io, and I'm also like an active member from the Clean NFT Discord group. Of which I started going into uh, in like late February. Yeah, that's me.
Cool. I'm Michelle Brown, and I'm an artist from Australia. I go by the Badlament. Um, I do a lot of virtual reality and augmented reality artwork. And yeah, I have been, I guess, releasing NFTs since early February of last year. And we'll probably talk a bit more about that soon. But yeah, just briefly, I started the Clean NFTs Discord group in about February, and yeah, part of that community.
Very, very cool. I think you guys have been too humble about yourself. Let me add a bit of rappel to you guys. Moon is one of the organizer for this entire thing, Crypto Art Malaysia, Crypto Art Week Asia, the um, our Malaysia satellite event, and she basically put this entire thing together in like 2 weeks. So hats off her for bringing us all this content and people together talking about NFT and how can we move forward with NFT, particularly in the settings of Asia. And Michelle, she's been doing so much good work in terms of advocating for a cleaner NFT and creating this community. I think it's a good first step for people to come together and have this discussion, and really start to think what we can do in terms of our actions. Yeah. So yeah. So today we are here to talk about NFT and what are the environmental impacts when it comes to NFT, because this is something that a lot of people don't talk enough. Like we see NFT as a tool, to create content, art, or whatnot. But what is the implications of using this tool? So maybe I can start off about how do you guys came to know about clean NFT or the environmental side of NFT.
Michelle, take this one first.
Yeah, sure. So, as I mentioned, I've been releasing NFTs since February of like last year, January, February, on Ethereum marketplaces. So, Super Rare, Maker's Place, and Known Origin, and um, that have been going pretty well for me. Uh, However, I think it was in about December of last year, I started to read a few Twitter posts from an artist that I knew, I guess, in the new media art world, and Memo Acton, and he had been writing about the energy impacts of Ethereum blockchain and NFTs themselves. And he'd been using some, I guess, calculators and support documentation from a group called Offsetra. They created the carbon.fyi calculator, which I guess was set up to kind of help give an estimate of how much releasing an NFT might cost in energy use, I suppose. And I guess it came to a head in about February of this year when Joni LaMercier also had done some research into the energy impacts of, I guess, the Ethereum marketplaces, and he'd written another blog post or article about it. And I guess I really wanted a place where I could be asking questions and talking to people and getting opinions and doing research together about, what all this meant, and was there this huge impact from releasing NFTs. And so that's why I guess created the Discord group. And yeah, found people like Moon who came in and were as, I guess keen and interested as me in educating ourselves as much as we could, because yeah, some of us, I guess, like me, that had been releasing via Ethereum marketplaces, were feeling pretty bad about contributing to potentially, a large amount of impact on the environment. I guess, after a lot of deep diving into things, we know it's not really individual NFTs that are causing impact. It is the mining process behind proof of work blockchains. And I'm sure we'll talk a bit more about that soon.
For me, I released my first NFT in February, and then it was the first one. After that, I made the sale pretty quickly because I already had a guaranteed buyer. And then after that, I minted my second one. But during that period, I started to see some stuff about the environmental impact. At that time, it wasn't really viral yet. It was just like a couple of people sharing it under people's NFT posts, and not in an attacking way, but more of like, hey, I think you should look into this. And so I was like, okay, I can't ignore this. And I started reading. Um, and when I started reading, I was quite shocked, obviously, and I was quite horrified by the numbers. And I was thinking of like, oh, I don't think I can move on with this. Like, do I have to quit NFTs? I just got started. What do I do? And I was trying to find the answers when uh, Johnny invited me to join the Clean NFT Discord group, which Michelle set up. So from then on, um, we had lots of really deep discussions, lots of debates in the the Clean NFT Discord. Um, a lot of different viewpoints from all sorts of angles about NFT and the climate change and the environmental impact and how are we supposed to go forward. But then we I started looking at some of the options available, in which Jose, also known as Never Render, he came up with a spreadsheet of all the proof of stake, or uh, let's say not proof of work uh, blockchains and the platforms that are available. And around early March, Hiketnunk went live, and I think I was just curious about place, and yeah, I jumped in, and yeah, from there I just started doing clean NFTs all the way.
Thanks. That's very, very cool to hear from both of you. So just maybe to give a bit of recap, I think one good point from Michelle was the GitHub guide created by Memo Akin. So it's called A Guide to Eco-Friendly Crypto Art. I believe after reading that, it's sort of like a Bible or introductory article to teach you about crypto art and how to be sustainable with it. So for you guys, the audience who are interested, you can check it out. A guide to eco-friendly crypto art. I think it's very, very informative and very comprehensive when it comes to what are the choices and what are the uh, informations when it comes to learning about crypto art and how to be sustainable with it. And for Moon, I think that was a very good point. Coming from an angle of a creator and understanding what are the implications of what the NFT that you have created, and what are the options that you have as well, which we are going to talk a lot about later on. You know, us as consumers, us as creators, we all have choices. The choices that we make can positively and also negatively impact on the environment, the ecosystem that we created for NFT. So yeah, so a bit on the side note here, since we are all in talking about this clean NFT, about environmental impact, are you guys doing anything on the side besides NFT that are uh, promoting or advocating for sustainability or environmental related topic? Because I believe that you will, most of us do have a different background on the side to kind of like help us to be more aware and conscious about our efforts. Do you guys want to talk a bit on that?
For me, I guess I wouldn't say now I'm like super active or anything. I'm just like a typical, just a normal person. I recycle. Um, I don't drive a car. I mean, I don't own a car. I used to just go with the train, but now I'm just stuck at home. I haven't gone anywhere in like a year and a half. But aside from that, there's nothing really particularly like outstanding. I would say like I'm like some kind of eco warrior or anything. Yeah, I mean, in university, I started a green team, which is like advocating for um, more green measures during my university years. Like there wasn't any like recycling centers available, so we did that. And then there was like overuse of polystyrene, and then we successfully got that banned from the university. But I think that was during my uni years. But like nowadays, I'm just like an average mom. Yeah, nothing super um, equal or anything. So yeah, Michelle.
I guess I, I
Yes.
f- I could do so much more. I know that in for my environmental impact, because I used to do a fair bit of traveling. Um, Again, yeah, it's a bit hard to do these days. But a lot of my work, I guess, in my arts practice is focused around environmental awareness. So, I try and do as much as I can, but I also um, focus on that to help with education around, I guess, sustainability. Currently working on a VR film experience, which is about climate change. And yeah, I've been working on, I guess, painting the rainforest environment, which has been really, it's a beautiful, uh, I guess, project to be working on. Which is partly why I was so passionate about finding a solution to sustainable NFTs. When we did start talking and seeing that, there is energy impact in the mining processes of proof of work. So yeah, I guess very much a big advocate of ecological sound frameworks. So.
Because I do believe that most of us have to have that in us before we can really dive into it, like what you guys has been talking about. You guys have been preaching about this before NFT was even a thing. That's why it is important for us, because this is what uh, we prioritize when it comes to our work. Yeah.
I
So looking backwards, sorry.
um I do have like a point to add. Like
Sure. Go on.
some people would be like, okay, so you're advocating for clean NFTs, or like you're criticizing the energy use. Like, what have you done? Are you vegan, or are you vegetarian, or do you do this? Are you that? Are you like in Greenpeace or whatever? But like, you don't have to gatekeep environmental causes, right? I mean, if someone feels strongly about this and feels feel like it matters, because it does matter, I don't think people should like try to background check or like um, gatekeep something which is um, for the betterment of everyone. So yeah, I'm just saying like
Totally.
you could be just a normal Karen, but you care for the environment and you want to make better choices for yourself. You don't have to be Greta Thunberg. You
Yeah.
can just be anybody. Yeah,
It all starts
I say.
from a discussion, right?
Yeah,
Something like
Yeah.
we're doing over here, you know.
yeah.
Totally. And I think, it's really important to, this is pretty early on still, right, in the NFT, art, crypto art world. So I think it was really important to try and, I guess, challenge the future art scenes of whatever we're a part of to be as environmentally sound as they can be, because we know better these days. It's not a time when we didn't know about climate change. So I think, and with any new thing, that we should be casting an environmental lens over it.
It's because it's new, and it's our chance to shape the narrative moving forward and shape how this is gonna go. So that's why we're like really strongly advocating if people who are new to NFTs and want to get into it, for example, they wouldn't know um, if there wasn't this information out there. But now we're presenting them with this, and now you know that there are options if you want to go for a cleaner option. And hopefully, if more people are aware and more people make it an important choice, then it wouldn't be because some of the arguments against some of these clean NFT platforms and for Ethereum is the most used. Like, why should you go to the other platforms if it's just gonna die? But if everyone um, makes it a point to understand this and then make it an important part of like their choice and decision making, the only argument of it being the most popular or like the most used, it shouldn't matter in the end, because we're still building things. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think like starting as soon as possible, that is the way to go. Especially, NFT just it's not new technology, obviously, It's only been picked up recently, and the traction has really gone through the roof. And the earlier that we educate the mass about what are the underlying problem, or what they can uh, you know make what they can decide in terms of making better decisions or choosing better options, the more we can prevent when it comes to carbon footprint or the other environmental impact. So okay, since you guys have been toying around with proof of stake, proof of work, let's dive into that topic. Talk about a bit of the consensus algorithm. Right. We talk about Ethereum, we talk about Tezos. Maybe give a bit of background on what this all jargon means. So consensus algorithm basically is the underlying algorithm for the blockchain. In this case, the most popular blockchain out there is Ethereum. So for example, Ethereum at the moment uses something called proof of work, which is 100 times more inefficient than the other ones, things like proof of stake. So, however, Ethereum is also planning to transition into a proof of stake method in the end of this year or early next year. But what do you guys think about this? This proof of stakes versus proof of work, consensus algorithm when it comes to blockchain minting NFT. Moon.
For me as an artist, um, I guess for me, those things, it's not really the top of mind, but in the end, it's like, okay, for proof of work, you really have to prove that you're doing a lot of work, and in doing so, you have to use a lot of energy, and so that creates a lot of waste in terms of energy. So it doesn't really make sense. Uh, So if proof of stake is cleaner, then I'll use that. But if something comes along the way that is even better, then I might use that. So that's the point of view that I'm coming from.
Yeah, and for me, I guess it's the tech side of things is very hard for the average person to grasp because it's pretty complicated what it all means. But and I still can't present it clearly to most people in a way that they'll understand it, I suppose, because I'm still not at that stage of being able to translate it. I know kind of whatever it all means in my head, but getting that across sometimes is really hard for the layperson who has no idea what how the blockchain works, I suppose. But for me, how I think about it these days is that proof of work. Yeah, it's the the mining behind proof of work is what is a major cause of the energy usage, because crypto miners, they're doing it so they can get that money, so that Bitcoin, that Ethereum, and it's also how the consensus is created. So of course I'd lean towards the proof of stake option because that is not reliant on the mining systems and is a different consensus mechanism. So yeah, I think the only real reason that most artists went for Ethereum in the first place was because everyone was on that. Like, it started from a group and that just grew and grew. And it started from a select few marketplaces that were based on Ethereum. But I feel like it could have probably been, any coin at that time for most artists. It's only the real crypto people that would have really, I guess, been aware of the technology behind things. I know most artists I speak to who are into NFTs more recently don't know too much about I guess the technical side of things, but they know that it's a new way of creating income from their art. It's a new creative economy, I suppose, and that's partly why I've been passionate about it. I see value in the digital distribution side of things. Multimedia has always been my thing. That's something that it causes me a lot of, I guess, internal
Conflict.
yeah, because I love tech. I love new technology. I own several VR headsets. I have the latest iPhone and all that technology to create that is environmental impact. It's electronic waste and so yeah, the conflicts are there often, and this is why where I can, I try and balance things, and that's partly why I'm so passionate about, I guess, pushing people more towards clean NFTs, proof of stake, rather than using Ethereum. And because the more hype around those coins, the more people use it, the more the currency increases, the more mining's happening. Sure, Ethereum might be moving to proof of stake, but we're not there yet.
That's a great point. So I think you uh, touched on something very interesting over there. Uh, I feel that it's the motive, right? You have to really understand what is your motive as a creator. Is it to make, you know, as much as you can, or is it to share the art that you create, right? And the platform you choose can kind of differ, changes the goal, right? So like what you mentioned, Michelle, like a lot of artists when they started with NFT, the reason they chose Ethereum is solely based on the popularity. Obviously, as an artist, you would like to reach as many audience as possible. And with marketplace like OpenSea, they really is able to provide that. Everything is streamlined. It's very simple. However, it is a very um, inefficient way of transferring digital assets using Ethereum or other proof of work type of blockchain. So I've only recently learned about Tezos and Hidapnok, and I realized that there is a very different vibe when it comes to the artist that has a heavy presence in Tezos as compared to OpenSea. And I feel that community, kind of vibe that is more presence in the Tezos mining community or NFT community. Could you guys kind of like elucidate and help shed some light for me on that part? Moon, I can't hear you.
Community? Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
yeah, I
Oh,
can hear you now.
you want to hear about the community?
Yeah, when it comes to like the community.
I guess for Hikit Nunk, the community first started because of the clean NFT movement, but then um, after a while, I think around the time where Ethereum really, the prices really went up, and the gas prices really went up, that's when people started using Hikit Nunk, not just for the environmental reasons, but because it was cheaper. And then from there, the community really grew bigger. Um, so yeah, the community is made up of different people from different walks of life with different reasons of why they choose the blockchain. It's not all for environmental reasons. There are a lot of people who use it for environmental reasons, but some just use it because of economical reasons, and some just use it because apparently they think
Popular.
it's the popular hot new place in town. So, but I would say that because of the foundation of how the community was built, it is quite strong in the sense of it's very different to how the Ethereum marketplace works, where the Ethereum marketplaces are, I guess, about very big numbers in one sale, and you have to really like go for the whales or the people who have lots of money. Whereas for now, on these other blockchains, in the proof of stake markets, it's a lot of artists supporting other artists. I guess kind of like how Ethereum was when it first started, before the prices went crazy.
Yeah, I think that with Hikitnunk, I really noticed the diversity of people who joined in, I guess, particularly probably, about 4 weeks into its existence, the people releasing artwork. And from that, I mean people around the world, people from more marginalized communities. And I guess, that was potentially because of the pricing and gas fees being, out of reach on Ethereum. But also, yeah, I just think the vibe is a lot more DIY. It's a lot more, I guess, counterculture. It's cool. That's why a lot of people joined and sort of stuck around. And then, yeah, other people came because it was getting very popular. Uh, but it's interesting to me how that also opened it up because it's also open source and available. Some of the coding is not available on GitHub. It opened it up to be, I guess, a feeling of ownership for all of us as part of that community. So that's led to some interesting times of late. And I've never seen that happen, I guess, on an Ethereum marketplace. Like, I haven't seen people, I guess, as visible as RAF is for Hikitnunk and being attacked for that. There's a very different way of how those sort of, one seems like a very corporate business outlet, and the other is a very cool project from someone who I think is just trying to build a cool community.
I do have something to add regarding like you were talking about if we were having like how would say thinking all this environmental stuff was already important before NFTs happened, right? So of course I already um, think it's
Yeah.
important. Have always thought this is very important, right? Because this is our home, our earth that we have to take care of. But another thing is, I'm also very active and very my art is very important to me in speaking out about like social political issues like feminism and uh, human rights and stuff like that. But when I learned about the environmental impact, I did not feel right about minting it on Ethereum anymore because I wanted to mint something like a portrait that I drew because I wanted to raise funds. But then once I learned about that, I felt like it wasn't ethically right for me to do it anymore. So it kind of all wraps up. I mean, it's all connected for me. Yeah.
Yeah. The only way you can connect the dot is to look backwards, things
I
that
do
we
want to,
do.
yeah, I do want to say that I think both Moon and I, we have friends who release on Ethereum. We don't, um, I guess, chastise other
And
artists for
then
using those blockchains.
for
Yeah, but
sure,
it's more
obviously,
about like how we feel personally, right? Of course, other people have their own reasons. Um, but yeah, just as for me personally, it didn't feel right for me to do that.
yeah. And like what you guys have mentioned, there are multiple ways to express that feeling, that thought. Some of us choose to use art, like Michelle. It's all over your work, and some of us choose to use movement, like Moon, who set up this topic for us to really have a good discussion on it. And communities are built this way, just like how Michelle, you build your communities. Like-minded people, they will come together. Yeah. But today, we are trying to push a bit harder in terms of pushing this idea to artists, particularly in the NFT sector, and how can we help them, you know, easily access into sustainable NFT. This is something that we want our audience to bring back at the end of the day. Yeah. Hopefully, we can capture that in this discussion. So, right, we've talked a lot about um, the consensus mechanism, the platforms, the pros and cons of things. So I want to touch something a bit different. I want to touch about ideas. How can you see NFT to be environmentally friendly from this point onwards? Moving on, how are we able to do that? As artists, as people who practice the usage of NFT. Doesn't have to be artists. I am a collector. I can't draw. But what can I do to reduce my impact on environment or even offset my carbon footprint? Can I be carbon negative? In the NFT world. Is it possible? Let's talk about that.
I think it's potentially possible. I don't know if I believe in anything being carbon negative. I think it's just too late for that in our world and what we've all probably contributed. But I do believe that I offset. I monthly contribute and I use Offsetra. Plug to those guys. Not everyone believes offsetting is, I guess, helpful. But I think every little sort of thing that you can do can be helpful. And if my funds are going towards planting trees in rainforests that need them, or repopulating reforestation areas, then that's that's just another small step that I can contribute. Um, I guess, yeah, I think that if people just use proof of stake for now, that's there's several blockchains that are available, and we'll probably mention a few times Jose's amazing spreadsheet. So that's the Clean NFTs Developer Community Spreadsheet that is an incredible resource for anyone who's new to NFTs or even just blockchains, and taking a look at what marketplaces are around. And there's so many now that it's fun to experiment. I actually haven't had much time in the last few months to create much artwork or experiment, so I'm kind of looking forward to soon having a break so I can. But I think that's important too. Is you can just try a few things out if you're new to NFTs, and of course, I'm recommending that you only go with clean ones, but whatever you want to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of options. You can view it on the spreadsheet, which you can find on cleannfts.org. For me, I think I don't know about carbon negative. That sounds kind of like wishful thinking. I don't know.
Be
Though I
carbon neutral, at
yeah, carbon
least
neutral
at the moment.
maybe. Yeah. I do know there are some people who are very outspoken against offsetting, um, but I don't think that is
So tell
the.
me
I
more
mean,
about that.
I
Like,
don't think being um, outspoken against offsetting is like you might not believe in it, but like I don't think you should attack people for
mhm.
um,
Yeah,
promoting offsetting or using like offsetting. Of course, we all have our own different strategies or our own views, our own perspectives, right? For me, I feel like one of the strong ways that we can use is not just with our money, which is like just donating to people planting trees, but also using our voice and activism. Because as you know, you're a local, you understand that um, there's a lot of, you know,
underlying
pembalakan apa
problems.
tu? Pembalakan apa? Logging.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's
logging issues,
a lot of logging.
illegal logging.
There's a lot of um, constructions. There's a lot of people taking away the indigenous people's lands
Yeah,
to
taking advantage of the,
yeah
people who
to
live
take
on the
away
land.
yeah to do development, right? So those people, they're the caretakers of the land,
Exactly.
right? The orang asli, and it's their home, and they also make sure that it's alive and it's used properly, sustainably, and it's their ancestral land. So sometimes you don't have to, sometimes it might not be about planting new trees, sometimes it's about protecting the ones already there, um, not just the trees but also the people who take care of them, orang asli. So I feel like we also should use our voice in that sense whenever we see that there are people being wronged, there are communities being wronged. um, you know, we should speak out. And as NFT artists, you know, with the blockchain, everything is permanent, and people can't censor us. They can't make us take down stuff. I mean, I tweeted about this before, but like, you know, like in Malaysia, you can get arrested for
Social media.
yeah, for speaking out against
Yeah,
the government, right? And then they might ask you to take down stuff, but if you mint it on the blockchain, it will be there forever. So
legacy.
I mean, that's my view, and it's a bit, I guess, it's a bit more. Um, I guess not a lot of people might want to do that, but some people might seem that that's what their art can be used for. So yeah, I think another way that we can do it is through protecting the people and the land. Yeah.
Very noble of you, Moon. Like, yeah, I have a lot of respect for that. So, yeah, I think, what Michelle mentioned was also very interesting. You can, find out about your contributions to carbon footprint by using a calculator. Very simple. And something as simple as, I think, carbon FYI, I look up at my own wallet. I realize that I'm responsible for 87 kilograms of CO2 emissions. And there are a lot of things that you can do to, you can choose to offset it by contributing to a cause, for example, planting trees, or you can advocate, tell your friends to be accountable of your own actions, because it all starts from accountability, finding out what your action means, what's the implications. These are important things, and helping, artists when they first started to understand this is it's just more receptive towards the concept later on, because the earlier we start, we the better it is for everyone, for all the communities out there, marginalized community whatsoever. So I'm gonna give my point of view on this topic, all right? Since I'm very, very like, intrigued right now by both of you guys. All right. So okay, I come from a very different background. Sorry, it's a bit late, I know, right, to kind of talk about myself, but yeah, I come from a very different background. I'm not an artist, although, somewhat of an artist, but the work that I do, the stuff that I do all lies in a lab. So I do a lot of research. I'm a researcher myself. So I'm a scientist and researcher, so my research and my work revolve around sustainable energy. All right, the concept of how can we um, have a more sustainable and renewable approach towards our consumption when it comes to energy, particularly energy. So I'm looking at this at a higher level when it comes to NFT and clean NFT. I would say that the reason that I really, really like blockchain is because it's decentralized. However, I see an issue. I'm not too sure if it's an issue. You guys can enlighten me. So the idea of decentralization, meaning it means that no one really owns anything. But what I'm seeing with NFT right now is that things are being centralized, which I'm not really happy with. Platforms like OpenSea, they dictate a huge, significant portion of where the market is heading. And I think these are people that should be accountable, when it comes to sustainability, issues. They are the one that can really have a big implications, because they have customers, they have, creators on that platform, leaving this carbon footprint because of the Ethereum blockchain. Obviously, it's because of the minting, not because of the, what the art itself. But I think, can we not have something as simple as like a carbon tax, like a gas fee, just to tax them in terms of, offsetting or whatever, recovering corrective measurements when it comes to sustainability? I think these are the people that we should really talk to. I think one platform, what's it called? CoinGecko. I think they do have like a sustainability portfolio on their platform. These are good things. These are good starts. Marketplace, starting to realize what they can have an impact to NFT. A positive impact, in fact. Right. So I'm gonna go a bit off tangent here. So there is this social enterprise called something to do with trees. Right. It's basically Google, but every time you search.
Ecosia.
Yeah, Ecosia,
I
exactly.
use it one.
So Ecosia is actually carbon negative, right? They are one of the very few companies out there that is actually carbon negative. Social enterprise, meaning that they are a for profit, but with a
Yes.
a good cause, right? So every time they generate a profit, a small portion is used to repay into the community or environment in this case. So I can see something very similar that can be created in the NFT platforms, right? It's just bringing people together who are environmentally conscious. So it all starts with this bigger entity, places like OpenSea marketplaces or Tezos, which are created with um, I think very
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
yeah. I think
Mm,
Johnny, he really went to all the different marketplaces to talk about the environmental issues, um, especially after his NFT drop, and then he learned about the implications and all that. So he went to all the different marketplaces. He went to Nifty, Gateway, Non-Origin, OpenSea, and all that. And their responses have been very different. Some just totally ignored. Some did like a fundraising for offsetting and then said like, oh yeah, we're carbon negative now, huh, in your face kind of attitude. And then some were like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna maybe reduce minting to uh, once a week. You can only mint once a week, and then there's an option that there you can put like for offsetting. So the the responses have been different, but yeah, the Clean NFT group, especially Johnny, he's been going for the corporations because yeah,
And this is
they
where,
have a lot of power in their hands.
yeah, and this is where I think it's hard when you talk about decentralization, uh, when and capitalism, and when it's really hard, I think, to try and have
something to keep. Yeah,
decentralization in a capitalist world because all these market, everyone's after a cash grab, you know.
exactly.
Um, so yeah, I think the decentralization gets thrown around a lot by people who I think try and use it as an excuse to maybe combat some of that um, negativeness around blockchain and NFTs and
And then they're just like,
uh,
but decentralization,
yeah, and like I think it definitely has value, but sometimes it's just funny in the NFT space. I think a lot of people throw words around that they don't quite, you know,
Understand.
maybe get the concept of.
I think one of the most disappointing ones, I think, was like maybe Foundation. They were on a more sustainable
Angle of
mechanism. Yeah, they were doing XDAI, but they moved to Ethereum for sales, I think. So yeah, that if you know me, you know that I really don't like Foundation. That's one of the reasons. But I like I'm not attacking the artists that are on there. I just don't like the platform. Another thing that I think I wanted to add before you went on to this was because of us realizing the carbon footprint of our use of the blockchain, right? Because we could check it, right? That's when we started realizing, oh, other things are also having a lot of a big carbon footprint, and we just didn't realize. And then now we're thinking, oh, I need to be more aware of what I'm doing. Like for example, watching like YouTube has a
Mhm.
huge carbon footprint, Google, all of
Yeah,
that. Like
with us sitting here
yeah,
using
so
internet,
everything. It's not like the people who are against NFTs for environmental reasons. They cite this and that, and then I'm like, people are
Usually
like,
YouTube
yeah,
streamers.
yeah. So you know that those things are having a big carbon footprint as well, right? And then we're not saying that as what aboutism is in like those things are bad, so this thing is bad, so whatever. It's more of like this thing is bad, that thing is bad. We should all take a look at what we're doing and try to reduce in whatever capacity that we can. So realizing that, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, YouTube has a large carbon footprint, Twitch has large carbon footprint and all that. So try to be more aware and like more thoughtful in what you do, and not just like make things just because, if you are contributing um, to a larger carbon footprint. So yeah, I think that's what I wanted to say. And also, what I can't remember. Yeah, just go on.
let us know when it comes back to you.
Yeah.
And Michelle, you were saying something?
Not that I
Oh,
remember.
okay. Oh, no worries. So yeah, I think interesting way of thinking about how the NFT work, you know, uh, centralization, decentralization, capitalism, all this. It all have to exist. Otherwise, this NFT wouldn't work, right? Unfortunately, I think it's a double-edged sword. It's a tool. It's a tool that is given to us, and we can choose to do good with it, or we can choose to ignore the harm that we created. So the first step is always, raising the awareness, educating people, right? I think we are in the right track, but we do have to move fast because it's picking up, and too much money has been made, and too little has been done in terms of the environment. So I would really want to see more when it comes to the bigger artists, you know, see if they are inclined to contribute or advocate in this particular matter when it comes to sustainability.
I think
Yeah,
it
because
it it comes through wherever I guess the mass is releasing or congregating. Whatever marketplace is quite popular. That's where it's going to draw new artists and other artists. So I know for me, I hope that we can continue to have Tezos-based and other proof of stake marketplaces popular, because then that means it draws more people to the clean NFT options.
what do you think, Moon?
Um,
What do you aspire to see, you know, in the future when it comes to cleaner NFT?
well, I hope that we can have more, like, because this thing is just taking off, right? I don't want people to just um run with it and not think of like the consequences before it's too late. Um, so yeah, think about like what you can do positively for the world, and understand the environmental impact, and really be conscious of your decisions and like be comfortable, not comfortable, but uh, be aware of your decision and not just like do things just because. So, whichever way you choose, I hope that you are confident in that is going to be like the best thing for you and like the best for the environment and the scene as well. Yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. So I'm gonna do like a quick recap of, it's been 50 minutes, 53 minutes, in fact, we've been talking.
Getting sleepy.
Yeah.
Just
So I'm
kidding.
gonna do a quick recap of, what we've spoken about, for the past hour. So we started off like, um, talking a bit about how clean NFTs started as an idea. This guy, Memo Atkin, he created this piece of holy Bible for clean NFT. You guys can go check it out. It's very comprehensive and very simple for any beginner, to start or learn about blockchain NFTs and how it can be practical and sustainable. We then moved on to talk about different platforms, different consensus mechanisms, the pros and cons, and what the history of how it all started with the OpenSea, the bigger Ethereum marketplace, and then the birth of other types of proof of stake platforms such as Tezos with a more uh, ecological directive. Then we also talk about how each of us is able to minimize our impact when it comes to minting NFTs. You can offset like Michelle, every month, or you can create more movement and active, uh, you know, really preaching the activism like Moon. right? And I think um, this really impact when it comes to a creator, because this is what you do. You know, all of your work is um, related to all these energy intensive actions behind the scene that we don't see. You know, so we also talk about giving um, a more being more aware. You know, being more aware of your actions. You can use platforms such as carbon.fyi or the calculator in the Clean NFT Discord to check out your carbon footprint. So accountability, yes, that's the word, you know, being more accountable as creators, as consumers. And finally, we talk about options. You know, we are all, at the end of the day, we are all humans, you know. We really can decide, you know, what we are doing and what are the actions means to us as a creator or as a consumer. Like what Moon mentioned, conscious creator and conscious consumer. I think it's very important in this ecosystem. That's the only way we can be sustainable. We can go in the long run because we all love NFT, right? We want it to last as long as possible. We are creating this legacy in the blockchain, and we really don't want to see it destroyed because we just don't care about, you know, what are the impacts. So having a sustainable mindset really helps us to go in the long run. So any last word, you know, before we close this session from both of you? Anything you would like to talk about?
Yes, I would
Something
just
to
like,
share?
yeah,
You
I
can
would
shout
like,
out. Yeah, give a shout
um,
out.
I was going to say, yeah, I'd like to just, really promote that people do their own research, do their own reading, and, like make their own decisions based around that knowledge, because I think it's important to come to educate yourself to understand what you are getting yourself into as well. And you can do that. We've got the cleannfts.org website, which has a whole bunch of great resources, including the very, very comprehensive spreadsheet by Jose. And just, yeah, shout out to our fellow Clean NFT, I guess, Discord crew, such as Joni and Sutu, and our Black Racer as well. Yeah, we, uh, yeah, we built a pretty cool community there that helped a lot of people have discussions around this stuff, when it was causing a great deal of anxiety between artists as well. So, I'm proud of that movement, and I'm, very thankful to have Moon as part of that as well. So we've made lots of great friends along this journey.
Michelle. Yeah, I would just like to reflect what Michelle said, which is do your own research and try not to be swayed by um, catchy headlines too much. Really understand what you're getting into if you want to get started on NFTs, and um, yeah, you can find the material to make your own decisions at cleannfts.org. And we just like to remind that uh, we're not like pro any one solution. Um, we're platform agnostic. Um, so yeah, I
Yeah,
think
we're here to
I
educate.
think
You know.
the main thing is do your research and really try to understand what you're getting into, because it's a lot and it's serious business.
Yeah.
Underneath all that fun and art, there's a lot of serious stuff happening. So
Mhm.
gotta wrap your head around it.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool. And I think we've come to the end of our session. I hope everyone, you know, is able to learn a bit of this and that, pick up a bit of this and that here and there, and really understand that, you know, we as a collective, doesn't matter if you're artist or what, but we are able to have this understanding when it comes to the true extent of NFT, which is the title of our panel today. Yeah. Thank you everyone for coming and sharing, having this cool discussion. We're just talking, like normal people. Yeah. So yeah. Thank you, Moon. Thank you, Michelle. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so
Thank you.
much.